This is the Ramana Maharshi satsang, a time to listen, reflect, and deeply meditate. Know yourself and be always free and at peace. Welcome. I'm Richard Clarke, hosting this satsang. I'm not a guru or a teacher. Like you, I love this teaching, so I just want to share it. I'm reviewing and commenting on the book's talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi. This week is talk 132, part 2. The devotee says, "Show me that grace which puts an end to all this trouble. I've not come here to argue. I want only to learn." Maharshi replies, "Learn first what you are." This requires no shastras, no scholarship. This is a simple experience. The state of being is now and here all along. You have lost hold of yourself and you are asking others for guidance. The purpose of philosophy is to turn inward. If you know yourself, no evil can come to you. Since you ask me, I have taught you. The ego comes up only holding you, the self. Hold yourself, and the ego will vanish. Until then, the sage will be saying, "There is." The ignorant will be asking, "Where?" The crux of the problem lies in know thyself, says the devotee. Maharshi says, yes, quite so. My comments. In this dialogue from talks with Sri Ramana Maharshi, a seeker approaches Ramana and expresses the desire to experience the grace that can put an end to all their troubles. The seeker is not interested in engaging in arguments, but simply wishes to learn and gain understanding. Ramana's response is direct and profound. He advises the seeker to first understand their true nature, to, quote, learn first what you are, end quote. He says that this does not require extensive scriptural knowledge or scholarly learning. It is a simple experiential realization. The state of being, the true self, is ever present here and now. The seeker has lost touch with this essential nature and is seeking guidance externally instead of turning inward. Ramana immediately tells him to look within. Ramana points out that the purpose of philosophy and spiritual teaching is to direct your attention inward towards the realization of the self. He quotes, "If you know yourself, no evil can come to you." By this, he means that true self-knowledge brings about a profound transformation, leading to a state of inner peace and freedom, which cannot be disturbed by external circumstances. External circumstances are like the movie of a fire, and you or the screen, untouched by anything in the movie. Ramana tells the seeker to inquire, hold yourself, and the ego will vanish. Until you see this for yourself, even if told of the self by a sage, you'll say, where can I find it? The seeker, still struggling with the egoic mind, seeks further clarifications on this central issue, know thyself, which is a key tenet in many spiritual traditions. He says the crux of the problem lies in know thyself. Ramana concurs with the seeker's observation and confirms that indeed the crux of the spiritual quest lies in the realization of one's true self and knowing the essence of one's being. This dialogue beautifully captures the core teaching of Advaita Vedanta, the non-dual philosophy that Ramana expounded. Advaita teaches that there is only one ultimate reality, the self, or Brahman, and everything else is an ever-changing illusion, Maya. The seeker's journey is to transcend the illusion of separateness and realize their inherent oneness with the absolute reality. This liberation brings liberation from suffering, moksha, and leads to a state of eternal bliss and peace. Ramana's teachings focus on self-inquiry, Atma Vichara. He encouraged seekers to investigate the nature of their own consciousness and existence, to discover the true self beyond the limitations of the ego mind and body. This dialogue emphasizes the importance of turning inward, self-inquiry, and the experiential realization of your true nature. This is the key to transcending suffering and finding lasting peace. So inquire, know yourself, and be always happy and at peace. And now we'll have a talk from Nomi, the knowledge of reality.
To know the self is to know the absolute reality with the self-luminous knowledge that is the reality itself. Without self-knowledge, what it is regarded as real, as if it were existing, is nothing other than the pale reflection of the definitions ascribed to oneself. So if there is the idea, such and such is, it is. Of the is, you can be certain. Of the such and such or it is merely an idea. This aspect of one's experience always corresponding to the identity assumed for the I, oneself. To know oneself is to know the real existence as it is. It is to know Brahman. In the knowledge of Brahman, Brahman knows Brahman. The reality knows the reality. Quite evidently, the unreal cannot do so. So the Maharshi's advice, so graciously and compassionately bestowed, in light of the singular undivided nature of reality, is to know oneself. If the one who appears not to know the supreme reality inquires into his own nature, his ignorance vanishes, and likewise the one who is ignorant vanishes, for they are unreal. And the reality of the nature of Satchidananda, being consciousness bliss, alone remains, without the least trace of differentiation. So then, inquire deeply within yourself, who am I? There is no sense in starting such an inquiry with the unquestioned assumption that you are an individual apart from the supreme reality of Brahman, or the real self. For there are not two selves. Everyone's existence feels absolutely singular. There may be a multiplicity of perceptions or conceptions, but your existence is undivided, absolutely one. So then, who am I? If the one who considers himself distinct from the self, regarded as oneself, inquires, attempting to discern what in truth he is, what then is found? One's existence, or innermost consciousness, is undoubtedly not a body. The one who knows of the body is not a body, and is not known by the body. Who is that one? You may regard yourself as enmeshed within the senses, or a peaceful witness of them. But regardless of that, who is it that knows the senses, but which can never be perceived by the senses? Who is this one? Not something sensed, not something sensing, but rather ever existing, always knowing. Who is this? Who is it that knows the prana, or animating life energy? Whoever this one is already beyond the distinctions of life and death. Who is it that knows your mind? The mind does not know itself. Who knows? The thoughts constituting the mind have no knowing capacity of their own. Who knows? The nature of the existence of this self is neither perceived nor conceived. The reality cannot be sensed, though it alone exists everywhere, at all times. Though it is the only consciousness, it cannot be thought of. The idea of individuality is also but a bare assumption, and not the existence itself. Are there two selves, one that can be ignorant of the other? If there is only one self, then it is self-known, non-objectively self-known. Regarding one who listens, reflects, and deeply meditates on what is being suggested here, what is the nature, the existence of this one? Keep turning your vision in a non-objective manner, in upon the seer or knower. The known is multiple, the knower undivided. The known is unreal, non-existent. The knower is real, of the nature of undifferentiated consciousness. Multiplicity of beings is an idea superimposed upon the self. Real being just is as it is, forever, unborn, uncreated. When you find there is no other way for you to be, that there is no other self, and nothing else existing whatsoever, that is, there is no alternative to the reality, such is non-duality. Such is true knowledge. If you want to realize this knowledge conclusively, inquire as to who wants, who wishes to know. Though the reality of Brahman admits of no divisions, it is one without a second, forever. Because of pure grace, the Maharshi has made known a path of self-knowledge upon which the one who travels such path dissolves into the original reality. For this, we ought to be very thankful. But what could be a better expression of thanks than putting into practice what he revealed, what he taught?
So now we'll take few minutes and inquire. Notice that you exist, and you know that you exist. You don't have to think about it or sense it. You just know directly. Now, inquire, investigate within yourself. What is the nature of my true self? What prevents me from recognizing my true self? What obscures it? Who is the one that seeks self-knowledge? Who inquires? For whom is the inquiry? Who am I? What is the nature of my existence? All right. And we'll close with a chant. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Peace, peace, peace. All right. Comments, discussions?
It seems like the ego has to turn on itself and dissolve in the question, who am I?
Yes,
And discover that the ego never existed.
that's right. That's how you destroy it. Discover that it was never there to begin with. The whole thing was just your own movie show that you were running the projector, making the film, and starring in it.
That's right. Yeah. It's like seeing the snake in the rope, and the snake was never there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Much
gratitude for these teachings.
Yes. Yes, indeed. Now, of the snake and the rope, I've appreciated that for a long time and have felt like, some of these pundits going and analyzing verses of the Shastras are like examining the scales of the snake to see what makes them so shiny.
That's right. I remember, I think Ramana used to say something like, in a barber shop, you start to examine all the hair that was on the floor, see which one's blonde, which one's red, for what?
Yes. And again, I appreciated how Ramana immediately, when questioned, directs them towards the deepest.
Absolutely. Yeah. Back to the self.
Mm-hmm.
Wonderful teachings, and it's great that you keep us soaking and marinating in them, Richard.
Well, that means I get to join you in the bath.
Yeah. Gonna be a slow cook.
Sometimes I wish it would cook a little faster. Well, again, it's good to see you all and be together and share this wonderful teaching of Ramana. And, we all have this longing to be able to take it into our heart and to know this teaching by being the teaching.
Right.
That's one of the things that I had to get over quickly in my own practice is the desire to figure it out. I've always been good at figuring things out, but that just didn't work.
It's the wolf taking care of the sheep.
That's right. That's right.
Well, there's nothing more worthwhile to investigate.
Yes.
Than the being, our very being.
Yes. Anyway, namaste. It's good to be with you again.
Thank you.
And we'll see you next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this Ramana Maharshi video, subscribe, like, and send me a comment.